I'll put the link in the chat. Here we go. In the chat room. And I'll paste the link there. So feel free to click on that link on the chat room, and you can follow along as I am. I'm going to go through that right now as I share my screen with you all. Share screen. And here we go. So I see that some of you have clicked on the link. This is great. So basically, you can clearly see how we scaffolded the assignment. And now keep in mind, you can take the assignment instructions that are listed here, and you can make them your own. Also keep in mind that these two professors are from the history art department. And so in this case, you can see choose an artist or an architect among, so basically she's asking the students to choose an architect or an artist, and you can make this your own and change it. So I'm giving you the actual and all the steps so that you can take them and make them your own. Now, I like that this is really broken down into small chunks so that students can read it carefully, follow the instructions. And the point here is that it should be clear enough so that students shouldn't have any trouble, right? Or have to reach out to you for every step along the way. Excuse me. The first step is basically students have to choose an artist or an architect in this case. And then what we did here is we created a Google Doc, right? If you're not familiar with Google, you can always feel free to reach out to me. I can help you set this up, this part here. If not, you can also you can do it in different ways where you can ask your students to submit via email who they're going to choose to write about or create, who are they going to, or what topic are they going to make their movies about. And so basically when they click on this link, it will open up in a Google document where then students will enter, you said like Tommy is going to do Abraham Lincoln, Johnny is going to do George Washington. And so therefore you don't have students choosing the same people as they're creating their their videos, right? And so this is the whole reason why we're doing this part, is so that students are not duplicating or choosing the same topics or the same artists. Any questions so far as I move over to part 2? Any questions about what we covered so far?
We're good. I'm good.
Okay, great. So the next part to the assignment is that then the students have to watch the video tutorial. And this is a video that I created for you so that you don't really have to explain to the students what they need to do in the technical parts, right? You're just explaining to them, all right, you're gonna make a video about, you got to choose from these topics or whatever, and then it has to be submitted by then, and this is the weighted total for your grades and so forth. But the technical parts I've all covered already in this YouTube video that I've created for you. Now, if you're going to customize this assignment, I'll be happy to make a custom video just for your own class. But basically, this is more of a generic tutorial for videos. And again, if you want me to make one that's customized to your assignment, I'll be happy to do that for you. If it is any different than what this one is, I'll be happy to do that for you. So that's what step 2 is. They watch this video tutorial on their own time. And if they have any questions, they can always reach out to me. I also give out my email address to the students if they need to reach out to me for questions. And what I can tell you from the last semester that we ran this assignment, I don't really get that much questions from students. I gotta say that last semester we got a little bit more, only because Spark was down on one day, and that's when the day before one professor had the due date, and I remember getting a couple of students, maybe 3 or 4, on that day asking me, "Hey, what happened? I can't upload my video." And it happened that Adobe Spark was updating their website that day, and a few minutes later, maybe a half an hour to an hour, the website was back up, and the students were then able to upload their videos. But other than that, to be honest with you, everything covered, the instructions that are covered here are usually enough for students, and I usually don't get many questions from students. Now, here is really the meat and potatoes of the assignment. This is part 3. And these instructions were written by Professor Lorenza Smith, so I give credit to her with some of my input here. But together we put this out there. And so basically here you let students know, okay, well, this is what we're going to be doing. So here is a video presentation on an artist or architect of your choice among the ones not covered in the course. The architect has to be European and active between 13th and 18th centuries. And she goes on and on about discussing more about the topic. Here you got to go to the Google Doc, put your name on the topic or the artist that you selected. Then she talks about you don't have to appear in the video. The video will include images of the paintings, sculptures, and buildings. And here she talks about the length, around 4 to 5 minutes of the video. She says, speak clearly and try to give live intonations to your voice. A monotonous voice can be difficult to follow. Don't write long texts on the slides unless it's a quotation. Use your creativity to render your video engaging. I think that's very powerful, allowing the students creativity to make their videos engaging. So that's also really important. Now here are some requirements. The video will have to include about 15 images and will focus on 3 or 4 works of art. Again, you will change this to your, to whatever it is that you're teaching. Obviously, if you're not teaching art history, you might not have 15 images, or again, or how much time you want them to spend on this project. You might decrease the amount of work or images that you want them to bring into the project. A very soft musical background is suggested. Pretend you're making a video for YouTube. And some suggestions, and I think these are very important. Speak fluidly and audibly with a live intonation. When narrating your slides with Adobe Spark, make sure to allow a few seconds of dead air before you let go of the record button. And I'm going to show you this later on in a few minutes on what I'm talking about here. When you're recording over your slides in Adobe Spark. Present clear visual evidence for each main point. Divide your presentation into 3 main parts. I think this was important too, and this is something you can add to your assignment, and you can scaffold it into three different parts. The introduction, begin with a clear thesis, an overview of what you will discuss. The core of the presentation, one or more identifiable body of the speech. Organize your arguments carefully. And lastly, the conclusion. You want them to briefly summarize what you demonstrated, answering the questions, why does this matter? What significance does it have in art history? So I think this is crucial. And then again, this is something that might be optional, you might not include in your video assignment, but include the bibliography, right, if you want to do that. And again, I'm going to show you another example where you do have a rubric. In this case, she's allowing 20 points just for the bibliography. And in the assignment Dropbox, so there's two parts, right? So there's two ways you can do that. You can actually add a Dropbox assignment for the transcript, or you can have students submit the video and the transcript through a Padlet. And I'm going to show you that in a moment, how to do that. So that's really important. You could do it, the pro to using a Dropbox assignment in Blackboard would be that once the student submits the Word doc or the PDF or the PowerPoint to the Dropbox assignment in Blackboard, that assignment is now linked to the gradebook, right? And whereas Padlet, you can just have the video on Padlet, and then the Dropbox assignment for the students to submit the transcript or the paper will then be connected to the gradebook, and then you can submit the grade through the Dropbox assignment. Now, this is the second example. This is another professor from the art history department, Nancy Eder. Again, I give her credit. And she took some of the work that we did with Professor Lorenza Smith, and then she made it her own. And so I just want to show you two different styles or approaches to this assignment. Here she has the same idea where it's a Google document. Students have to select the topic for the project on the Google Doc. And here are some of the options. She teaches, I think, an Asian course in history. So you're going to see K-pop, style of dress. Here's a Japanese Osaka street fashion versus Tokyo street fashion. So she'll give us some examples of different topics the students can choose from. And then step 2 is then to add your topic to the Google Doc. Once they've seen the different options that they can choose from, then they can go here and drop it into the Google document. And here's step 3. She has the students watch my tutorial, and they can watch the tutorial on their own, and also they can email me if they have any questions, any technical questions about Adobe Spark. What's interesting though, and this is why I wanted to show these two different approaches, is that she calls these mini documentaries, whereas the other professor was using more of a presentation style, to kind of replace what the student would do if they were presenting in front of the classroom. And I feel like a mini documentary gives the students much more creative freedom, making it a little bit more artsy type of documentary style videos. And I've noticed that is the difference between the two styles, whereas the students will be presenting is much more, okay, here are my PowerPoint slides, and the student's speaking over his or her slides. Whereas if you're doing more of a mini documentary style, students tend to record video and bring it in and make it much more like a documentary style, if that makes any sense. So keep that in mind as you decide on which direction you want to go with this. For me, and if you were to ask me for my opinion, I like documentary style because it's much more creative and allows your students to be more creative in the way they tell their story. Or if you're looking for this assignment to replace what would otherwise be a presentation in front of the classroom, then that wouldn't be a documentary style. That'll be much more, okay, here are my slides, and I'm speaking over my slides. It's just more of a presentation style. So keep that in mind as you're deciding on how to create, on which direction you want to go with this type of assignment. Real quickly, I just want to go over any questions so far. Anybody have any questions?
Yeah, Jose, did any of these faculty share samples of the student submissions? Because sometimes the students still, even after you say all of that, they're not clear. It will be nice if we had a sample, and then we can say, as this example from one of the history classes.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I'm going to share with that. Nancy Eder, Professor Eder was kind enough to share with us her complete course, and I'll show you in a second.
Thank you.
Thanks again to Nancy for being so kind. I tried to get her on this workshop, but she's visiting her mom right now in New Jersey, so I told her to give her mom a big hug for me. But Nancy's very kind to allow us to see. And I'm just going to go real quickly through these, and then I'll show you Nancy's example. So Nancy's very similar to Lorenza. Here we got 4 to 5 minutes, you know, and again, she refers to these more of a documentary style. Imagine how you would want to see a documentary video on this topic, right? So ask your students, if you were watching a documentary on Tokyo fashion, you know, how would that look like in a documentary, right? And so try to create a documentary based on the topic that you choose. Then the students are then required to write a transcript for the documentary, right? So they're going to have to write it down on paper or write the script down on paper. And so that while they're doing the research on the topic, they're actually writing it down on paper so that then they can present or record themselves in video. Again, she doesn't require them to show themselves on the video, unless if you want to appear in your video. This video uses you as the narrator of the documentary. So I like that. She wrote that here. I think that's important too. You must verbally narrate your mini documentary video, right? So there's no way around it. They have to speak and narrate over their mini documentary. Here she says, choose at least 4 examples of your topic. All in all, you can have about 15 different images on your topic. Include written information in your documentary video, but don't overwhelm the viewer with written information. I think this is very important. As we all know, students who are doing this for the first time might overwhelm their visual space with text. And we covered this in our Video Maker series. For those of you who attended that, we all talked about cognitive overload, right? We don't want the screen to just be filled up with text, right? And you don't want to be reading the text, so it doesn't make any sense. So that's something you might want to have to go over with your students, and have them understand that if you are speaking over it, you don't need to type all the text on the screen. All right. And again, be creative with your video. And I'm counting on everyone's creativity to shine. So she's encouraging them to think outside of the box, right? Try something different. And this is something that, again, is the point of taking one of your paper-based assignments and converting it to a digital, a digital storytelling assignment. And that's the fun of it, is doing something new, something different. Not only are they learning they're still learning how to write a paper, but you're also teaching them how to articulate your thoughts, how to, if you have a 10, 15-second elevator pitch, and we're going to talk about that later when we get to Spark, basically that's what you're really teaching them is, hey, get ready to be able to, at any moment's notice, be able to talk about whatever that topic is to your boss, to your professor, or to someone in your job. And so that's really important for them. This skill to learn is a soft skill. It doesn't get taught very often in many classes, and so I think it's very important. Speak clearly, again, when you're narrating the video. You actually want to be understood. You want to articulate your thoughts. Try to find a quiet background when recording, and the rest is very similar. Here she has the MLA format, and she has an example to the MLA format. When they click on this website, the Purdue University website, that will cover the MLA format. And then the last step, and this might change depending on how you want to collect the submissions. In this case, she's using a Padlet for students to submit the link to the videos. And she has a little bit on plagiarism. You can take a look at that. Also, she has a grading rubric. This might be helpful for you if you decide to use this assignment. In this case, here's the rubric. Here's the criteria. This is what an A+ will look like. A, an A-, a B+, and so forth. Is this, so these are two examples you can use and make them your own. Now, like Carmita said, I'm going to show you an example of Nancy's course and some of the students' work. Okay, and so this is Nancy. She gave me permission to use her course, and also I think students also allowed, or gave permission for us to look into the videos. And so what Nancy does first is she has a little folder here, and she titled it Mini Documentary Video Assignment Directions. And when you click on that folder, you see the video that I created for the students. And here she, I like that she put, if you need technical support, reach Jose_Diaz1. So there's my email, so students can easily reach me here if there are any technical issues. They click on the video, they watch the video. I think it's about 14 minutes. And Adobe Spark also has their own tutorial. And then here is the Google Doc, the link where students will click on, and then they will have access to the Google Doc, and then that's where they would enter the topic that they chose. Over here are the instructions that I just read to you. This is what we just saw right now. This is basically, all the steps from step 1 all the way to step 5. And if I go back, so everything is, all this information is in one folder for your students. The instructions, the video tutorial, and the link to the Google Docs. So let me bounce back out to the content area. And now what I'm going to show you now, this is the Padlet. And this is using the shelf template. As you can see, this is a shelf template, and the names, student names are on top. And you can scroll, you can scroll from left to right, and those are all the students in her class. And then at the first column, we have an example column. And what we did was I took my video tutorial for the students, used it as an example for them, that letting them know, okay, this is where you're going to put the link to the Adobe Spark video, to your documentary will go here, right? The link to your documentary video will go right here. And then here, you can upload the transcript here. And as you can tell, some students did in reverse order, but still it's there. Right? Here's the transcript, and here is the video. In this case, the video is here, and the transcript is here. Any questions so far?
No, but this is awesome.
Awesome, yeah.
It's really terrific to be able to see how she linked the Padlet to Spark.
Oh yeah,
because
So I'm going to
using the latest technology on both fronts.
Oh yeah, right. So that's a good point, right, Carmita? You're doing Adobe Spark, you're doing Padlet, and then you're doing Blackboard. So there's basically kind of 3 tools here that you're working with. Here's another option for you all. If you decide to separate the video and the transcript, you can do that. You can always create, if I go back to the content area, you can always create a Dropbox assignment so that students can submit the transcript separately from the video. The benefit of doing this is that you will get the annotation tool in the Blackboard system so that you can annotate over your student's paper. If that's what you're looking for to do, if you're looking to do that, you can then create a Dropbox either inside the folder where students can upload the paper, and then you can do the inline grading in the Blackboard system that way. And that Dropbox assignment will then include the grade for the video as well as the paper, right? And so when you submit that grade through the Dropbox, it will include the video and the paper as one grade. That could be a little confusing, but if you want to go that route, that's fine. You can do it that way, or you can keep it this way, where now you have the paper and the video all in one place. Not only that, but you're getting all your students in one shot. You're getting every student, all their papers and their videos in one screen. Now let me show you real quick of how one video will look like. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to mention this early because I was doing that whole tour of FIT, but I'm going to stay a few minutes extra. If you're interested, I'm going to show you some updates. Padlet had a major upgrade, and I'll cover that after at the end of this workshop. I'll cover the new updates on Padlet. As you can tell, it's a little different. They added some new features. If you're interested in that, stay till the end, and I'll go over that. There's also new updates on Screencast-O-Matic. They added new features. So that's another thing I want to show you. And Blackboard did some updates. I think it was today or was it yesterday. So I will also go over. I'll take a few minutes to cover those. If you can't stay, don't worry. This is being recorded, and you can watch the video when you do have the time. Okay, so here we go. So let me show you this one video. This is made by a student, and this one, this particular student chose manga and novels, right? So let's click on the video to play it, and I'm going to make this. I'm going to maximize the screen so we all can look at the video.
For this mini documentary, I will be discussing the background of manga and light novels. What exactly is manga? Manga is a wide variety of comic books and graphic novels that are produced and published in Japan. These series would often evolve into anime and even cosplay, remaining constantly popular within their ever-growing community and collectors. In Japanese, the term manga can refer to all kinds of cartooning, comics, and animation, as it is composed of two kanji, man meaning whimsical and ga meaning pictures. It was said that manga first originated from scrolls that would date back to the 12th and 13th centuries. For example, Shoujo Giga is considered the oldest example of manga in Japanese animated movies. These scrolls would display a series of drawings like frogs and rabbits that present a technique of drawing of the character's legs to stimulate running. The term manga was created by the artist
So you can see, this student has music playing in the background, but it's very light. You can barely hear it. Some of the students use video, and again, it's up to them. Use audio, and again, it's up to them to choose what type of music, whether it goes with their flow or the topic that they're talking about. Let me show you another student. And oh, by the way, students can also bring in video into their own video, right? So you can actually use your phone, and Adobe Spark can be downloaded to your smartphone, record some video, and then bring it into the Adobe Spark as you're creating the documentary. So there's a lot of ways where students can go with this. And so this is why it is a very creative type of assignment. Do I hear a question? Is there a question out there?
Yeah, Jose.
Yes. Oh, Martin, how are you? Yeah.
Hey, just a quick question. Are we grading the students on the technical competency as well? Like in terms of, like for example, if a student has the music, the background music too high and you can't hear what she or he, is saying, is that, are we going to use that in the rubric as well, or in terms of what the demonstrated work is showing, did they grade that as well?
Yeah, it's a great question, Martin. Yes, because so building that rubric is key, because now the students, and again, you want to be transparent as to how you're going to grade them. And I always think that transparency is an assignment like this is very important, because you can go many directions, and the technical aspect, or the storytelling, or the research behind the video, the paper. So that's why I included that rubric that I shared with you all. And you can go, I'm sure Nancy went into much more detail when she explained to the students the assignment. But I feel that you have to be very clear as to what you're looking for in this assignment. And most importantly, I'm sure that what will hold much more weight will be the research of the topic, student presentation style, the research, the bibliography, the paper, all those going to weigh in the grade. But it's up to you to decide what are those criteria and what weight are you going to give to each of those criteria. So that's something that you will have to sit down and decide. I can always ask Nancy and Lorenza Smith, and actually Lorenza Wang also did this exercise. I can also ask her to give out their complete rubric as to how did they break down the weight of this assignment, and that might help you decide on how to do that. But creativity could be something also that you might add as a criteria. So again, it's all really based on what you're looking for students to get out of it, right? What is a learning objective? What is a takeaway from this assignment? That's a great question, Martin. Yeah. Let me show you one more example of a student's work. Make this a little bigger. I think this one used music, I forget. So this is history of Korean wave movies.
History of Korean wave movies. From the early 1980s to the present, South Korean cultures such as music, drama, movies gained global popularity from all over the world. As Korean culture became more famous, people started to enthusiastic about Korean culture and this phenomenon called Korean wave. There is a major factor that have had a significant influence on the occurrence of the Korean wave. The major factor is regime change. After the long periods of military dictatorship, the liberal Prime Minister Kim Dae-jung, who supported democracy, elected in 1998. His election had a profound impact on South Korea's transformation into democracy. Not only country, but also Korean culture.
So here's another example of using music and being able to articulate her thoughts. I thought she was very clear and her pacing. One thing you'll notice if you decide to use this type of assignment is that students are going to record themselves multiple times. And what I've noticed is that as they're perfecting the skill of being able to speak out and talk and present, they are constantly repeating and recording themselves, which they keep getting better and better. So it's like a repeat, trial and error, keep trying, and they keep recording themselves. And it's an exercise that, as we all know, when we record our voice in our video, we kind of like, oh, I don't like how I sound. And so that's something you might want to go over with your students and say to them, well, you're going to record yourself. You might not like the way you sound or how your voice sounds, but this is all part of the learning process, right? We all have to learn how to be able to give that elevator speech, and learn to do it within a time constraint. You just can't go on and on. You have to be able to be clear, concise in a short period of time, so be able to express your thoughts. And so that's really the soft skill that we're trying to teach here with this type of assignment. And so again, just to give a quick overview, this is basically a Padlet. This is using a shelf template. The student names were added for every column. And it's an easy way for you to know who did the work, who didn't do the work. because clearly you go to the person's name and then you see if the work is there or not, and that's how you know. And then it's very important to add a due date, obviously, because once the due date is up, then you don't want to have to go chasing your students. If you have a deadline, you're going to check the Padlet on that deadline. You don't have to be constantly check the Padlet and have to start chasing students, because you know that if the assignment is not handed in by a certain period of time, you know that you might have to penalize your students. And just make sure that you have specific details about if there are going to be penalties due to latenesses. Include that also in this assignment. All right. So with that, I have about less than 20 minutes. I want to show you how to access Adobe Spark. If you haven't yet accessed Adobe, or you haven't yet used Adobe Spark, you can find Adobe Spark. If you log into Blackboard, I put a link for you all there. You can click on this link at the top right-hand corner of Blackboard. If you click on that Spark link, it's going to open a new tab on your browser. And basically that's spark.adobe.com. It logged me in automatically because I'm already logged in, but I'm going to log myself out because I want to go through all the steps with you, just in case there's any confusion. Let me do that. So I'm going to click spark.adobe.com on my browser. Takes me here. On the top right-hand corner, I'm going to choose Sign In. From here, you have two choices. Only focus on the right-hand side because you want to log in with the FIT school account. So here at FIT, we have all the Adobe products. So we're lucky enough to have the pro accounts to all the Adobe products. So make sure you log in with the school account so you don't end up with the free account. We want to use the pro account. All right, so log in with school account. Do not go in through Google. I like to do it. I type in my FIT email address. So I have here my email, and then I click continue. Then you're going to get here. Make sure you choose company or school account, right? Because we're still going through FIT because we want to use the pro account. So now you got to authenticate yourself with the FIT username and password. So just make sure you put your username, not the email address. So just put your username and your password, and then sign in. And I think that will take you into Adobe Spark Pro account. Yeah, here we go. This is a landing page to Adobe Spark. On the top left-hand corner, you have that blue circle. There's a little plus sign there. You want to click on that. And then notice there's many different types of Spark, right? You can do the graphics, flyers. You can do the web page. But what we're focusing on today is the video. So let's click on video. This is what your students are going to be doing, and this is what I cover in the tutorial, the video tutorial. So you don't have to teach this to your students. I cover all this already in the video tutorial. Now here is, we got to give our video or our documentary a title. So if I give this a name, on this, if I call this my video project, you might want to have your students put their names on it. And then you click next. Now this is interesting because Adobe Spark creates has pre-made templates. If you do want to pick one of these templates, feel free to look at them. If you tell your students to, let's say you're promoting an idea, let's say you're teaching marketing or some type of entrepreneurship course, and the students have to promote an idea, you can use this template, hero's journey, a show and tell, or any of these. But I usually do scratch, start from scratch. Excuse me. It takes a few seconds for it to load. Adobe Spark has its own video tutorial. You can have your students watch it if they want to use this as a tutorial. I'm going to skip it for now. And this is how the interface looks like for Adobe Spark. It looks very much like, kind of like PowerPoint slides. So this is where students will be creating their presentation. Now, if you have students who are going to be creating video and incorporating the video that they've done into your Spark, they can go here and click video. And the students can then upload the video from their phone directly into the Spark video. And that could mean anything from an MP4 video, like this one, and they can insert the video directly into the video that they're creating. Now, an interesting thing about Adobe Spark is that every slide is 30 seconds of narration, right? So let's create let's add a picturing. Let's say I'm doing my presentation is on George Washington, and I want to add a photo of George Washington. You can easily upload the photo from your computer. You can take a photo using the webcam, or you can use Adobe's free photos. I'm going to use that, and I'm typing George Washington. And I'm just going to grab one of these pictures of George Washington. It's not a really good. Oh, here's a good one. Right, so I can drop in images directly from the Adobe Spark library of videos. I can minimize the image if it's too big by clicking on the 3 little dots and then minimize. You know, I can make it fit if the photo is too big. Now, if I want to add my recording, remember the recording is limited to 30 seconds, and this is what we were talking about before, talking about the elevator pitch and teaching our students to be able to go straight to the point, right, of learning that soft skill of the elevator pitch and being able to articulate your thoughts in a short period of time. This recording is limited to 30 seconds. Now, there is a way around it. If you duplicate the slide, for example, here, the George Washington slide, and I duplicate it, Adobe Spark will know that I'm still talking about the same slide. So now this has turned into 1 minute. Students might not know this, and it's up to you if you want to tell them about this. But if they complain to you that 30 seconds is not enough time for them to articulate their thoughts on one slide, then you can then duplicate. You can teach them that you can actually duplicate that same slide into, now I have 1 minute of recording time. So if I hit record and I hold on the record button, this is George Washington. This is a portrait of George Washington at the White House, blah, blah, blah. And remember, this is where now you give yourself 2 seconds of dead air before you unclick the record button, because otherwise your voice would be cut off, right? So I'm going to give 2 seconds of dead air, and then I let go, right? And so now if I want to play back and listen to myself, I would click the preview button. But let me add one more slide, right? So that was 30 seconds of George Washington, and then I can pick it up on the second slide of George Washington. Now I've added 30 more seconds, and I continue to speak about the same slide. If I want to add a slide, I simply click on the plus icon right here, and now I have a new slide. And here I can add text, if you want to add text. And you can change the theme, very simple. Again, this is template, kind of template based. and making it very easy for anyone to create a video. So this is why it's limiting in a way, but the reason why is it's because it's super easy for anyone to make a video, right? You don't have to learn iMovie or Premiere or Final Cut. Everything is very straightforward. But again, it's template because it's very template based. So if I choose one of these themes, this controls the font, controls the transitions, controls the color, right? And so that's why it's kind of very easy to use because of this very template based. So let me just real quick, I'm running out of time. Let me add some music. So on the top right hand side, let's say if I want to add music, I click on music. There's a lot of songs to choose from. You can add your own music. You can preview the song before you add it by clicking on the play button right here. Kind of like this one. So I'm going to select this one, and then I can control the volume right here. I'm going to do one more recording just so I can have some few words. So let me record something here. I can record here. This is another example recording of myself narrating over the slides using Adobe Spark. Oops, I should have given myself a second or two after I hit stop of dead air so that I wouldn't cut up my voice. This one has audio, and let me add some. That's good enough, right? So now I can preview. If I would preview before I publish it to the Padlet. So if I want to preview it, this is George Washington. This is a portrait of George Washington at the White House. Blah blah blah. And remember, this is where now you give yourself 2 seconds of dead air before you unclick the record button, because otherwise your voice will be cut off, right? So I'm going to give 2 seconds of dead air. This is another example recording of myself narrating over the slides using Adobe Spark. All right, so that was just a quick example, right? And so let's say I'm happy with the video. I just click share. I publish it. Also, if you decide to do divide them into groups, you can actually have students invite other students that belong to the group to work together on their own video. So that's another option if you decide to do something like that, where now students are working together on one video. You can have them all work on it together, and they can each record their own parts of their presentation or the documentary. So let's go ahead and publish my video, and then I create link. And so now this is creating the link, and this is the link that we're going to use this is a link that we're going to copy and paste it into the Padlet, so that now the Padlet becomes an exhibition or like a film festival for all students to watch and learn together. And so therefore we're creating kind of this social learning experience where all students are watching each other videos or documentaries, and then students are then commenting on each other's work. And so we're all learning from each other. And I think that's the magic that Padlet adds to this whole assignment, and allowing everyone to be a part of your work or this exhibition or film festival, whatever you want to call it. So let me now, it's almost done. And then once this is done, creating the link, here it is. Now you can copy this link right here. And if you go back to, let me go back to my Blackboard, and or let me just go straight to a Padlet. Where's my Padlet? Here. So here's, let's say I'm John, and I want to post my my video. You can do, oh, has anybody noticed the new feature in Padlet? All right, so now when students are posting, they click post, you can now select from here. Here's a link. Let me click allow. So this would be the link. And again, I explain all this to the students on the video tutorial. You don't have to go through any of this with your students. All of the technical parts are covered in the video. And so this is a link to my Spark video that I just created. I paste it in there and I click submit, and then it starts to upload. Has a nice little graphic there. Here here are some captions. You know, you can change it by clicking on here, and if you want to change the captions, you can also type in something here. It says, "Hi, Professor. This is my documentary video." You can also put a subject. You can ask them. You can tell your students to put their the title of the documentary or the subject they chose and their names. So you can do that there and say, another feature, new feature that was added by Adobe Spark is that you can actually put your post on a doc by clicking on this little arrow. And now you can see what other people are doing as you haven't yet published your post. So this is a cool feature, especially if you're doing work on Padlet, real-time work, and students are working in real time. Students can still see what's happening on the Padlet before, while they're working on their actual post. So this is a new feature that was added recently in Padlet. Another thing too, you can actually work on multiple posts. You see how they become like little tabs? So here I can do then my transcript. Right? And then here I can upload the document. Let's see if I have a doc. Here's a doc file. Let's pretend that this is the transcript to the video. So now it's uploading my doc file, or it could be a PDF or a PowerPoint, any of those items. So now I can also doc this post by clicking on this up arrow here. And so now you see how I can go from one to the other, right? So I have them. I have my video and my transcript. Now if I'm ready to publish the video, I can just click publish, and then it goes on to Padlet. And if I'm ready to publish the transcript, then I can just click publish, and then now the student has the video as well as the transcript published onto the Padlet. What this allows students now to do is, to make sure that the work that they're submitting is correct before they publish it. It just removes a little bit of the anxiety, because before, anything that you were typing on Padlet was going automatically on the Padlet. And so this allows them some time to review the material before they submit it to the Padlet. All right, so that's basically, I'm on exactly at 12 o'clock. So that basically covers this workshop on digital storytelling. I gotta say that as we continue as educators, video continues to be one of the most powerful tools in education. Not only video from the professor, but video from students, allowing students to actually work with video is very powerful. I can see this being used in many different ways. If you're in a studio class and you're teaching students how to, make a garment or something, you can document that whole experience, from beginning to the end. Students can, record their progress as they are, let's say, designing a skirt or, sewing garments together and producing these products. You can actually document all this as students are learning how to do and create fashion or whatever the topic that you might be teaching. Documenting the experience of the learning, from the beginning all the way through the end until the final product is such a valuable way to learn as you're reflecting on the mistakes. I learned this is how I did this. And so I highly recommend this type of activity, assignment in your class. please feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions, or if you want me to customize the video tutorial for you. I can do that. I've done it now twice, 2 or 3 times for different professors. It's not a big deal. And I'm going to open up for questions or suggestions because I'm at the 12 o'clock mark, so I'm sorry I went a little over. But I open it up for anyone to talk about this type of assignment. If you're interested, or questions, please, the mic is yours.
So this is very helpful. Good day, everyone. I use this sort of digital storytelling as a final for my group work. So I have the various themes, the essential questions, throughout the course. Every week or so, there's a new essential question or theme as such. Mm-hmm. And part of the assignment of the group is to extract the specific reference to the subgrouping of I teach Introduction to Caribbean Studies. I should have said that initially. And so the students are broken up into subgroups within the region. And so they part of the task is to extract particular aspects of these themes to the groups that they are involved with. And so this is very useful because I can actually I can really just use this as a final as the demonstratable final product. I had to create it on my own, and I think this is much better, and it's comprehensive, and it really helps because I struggled a bit with balancing the content, the core content, in terms of assessing the students, and the technical competencies, right? So that's why I asked the question in terms of whether I didn't see the rubric before I asked the question, but so I can definitely use that as part of it. But my main emphasis will be on the content area. But again, as I said, this is extremely useful. I can really just modify this for that particular purpose. Thanks again. Very useful, Jose.
Thank you, Martin, for your feedback. I like what you said about research, right? Students actually have to go out and become investigators and bring in, curate content, and so they become these kind of investigators. They go on their own and they have to do the research so that they can bring, either to defend their arguments and things like that. So, or, like we said earlier, another example is just to document something that they're creating, because we have a lot of creators here at FIT, they're creating, actual tangible items. And so to document the experience, I think would be truly valuable to bring that into the classroom. And it's a new medium for them, right? It's definitely a new medium that encourages a creativity. And so I think that's really also what's valuable. I think I heard a post. Let me go back to, where am I now? I'm lost. Here I am. I think I heard someone. Oh, Michael.
I think someone was just leaving.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Michael. That's a great point. If you've done all 8 sessions, definitely you are entitled to the stipend that the school is giving out for this series on the flipped classroom. This last workshop on digital storytelling, and it piggybacked the last workshop on assignments. Some ideas for assignments on what to do and so this one goes along with the whole flipped classroom umbrella of the whole series that we're doing. So if you have attended all the workshops, make sure that you fill out the form so that you get the stipend. Also, there is a certificate that will be given out to you. If you have any questions or you don't know the link to the form to complete it, just let me know and I will email that link to you so that you can get the certificate as well as a stipend. Any questions about this assignment? Any other questions or comments?
Hi, Jose. This is Pam.
Hey, Pam.
You know what? I also was just wondering if this whole Adobe Spark, especially the presentation, would be used in the flipped classroom as an educator for myself to get information out there, as opposed to just the Screencast-O-Matic, just a different format. It's quick. You kind of scroll through it too, if I'm not mistaken, or at least the Spark pages you end up scrolling through. So it's in a format that they're used to seeing on their their mobile devices, etc. But I was actually thinking of maybe putting together some presentations for the flipped classroom in Adobe Spark.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, instead of just assignment.
Yeah, definitely. Adobe Spark definitely is three-pronged, right? You have the Adobe Spark Video, Adobe Spark Pages, and then you have Adobe Spark Graphics. I always refer to Adobe Spark as the little brother of, Adobe Premiere, Adobe Photoshop, and Adobe Dreamweaver, right? It's basically those same three things at a much, much easier to learn. It's not like, oh, how am I going to learn Photoshop? I want to create some graphics for my class, and everyone's afraid of the learning curves of Adobe Photoshop and those other the big name. And so this is what Adobe Spark really is. It's just a little brother or little sister of those three big ones. And what they're selling is the learning curve. There is no learning curve with Adobe Spark. If you are looking to use some graphics for your class and you don't want to spend 3 hours learning how to use Photoshop, Adobe Spark, boom, you can create some graphics. If you're looking to make videos, Adobe Spark Video. Or if you're looking to make a web page, right, with Adobe Spark Page. Again, you don't want to learn code or HTML, then you got the Adobe Spark. And going back to your question, I'm working with several faculties right now that are using Adobe Spark in the flipped classroom model to create those Spark pages. I can offer you some examples. I can ask those faculty members to share with you what they've done. I know Mario Valero has done a lot of work with Adobe Spark Pages in his classes. I can share some examples of that. And also, to answer your other question, yes, you can use Adobe Spark Video in replace Screencast-O-Matic if you don't want to use Screencast-O-Matic. Now, there are pros and cons to using there's pros and cons to both tools. Again, Screencast-O-Matic will always be the more robust tool, giving you a lot more freedom to edit and do much more advanced features. But if you already have these slides and you just want to bring these slides into Adobe Spark and you don't really need anything fancy, you can do them on Adobe Spark. And then have all your work in Adobe Spark. I mean, all your videos and all your video presentation. You can do it that way too. I'll be happy to show you if you ever need one-on-one. I can show you how to do that. But yes, the answer is yes. You can use Adobe Spark videos to actually create those video lectures or short videos for your course.
And would they always have to be? Oh, I'm sorry. Would they always have to be? I guess they'd always have to be opened up within the Adobe Spark application or what have you through Blackboard, correct?
You don't have. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no. So I was about to say, if I don't know, God forbid, next year we don't have a subscription to Adobe Spark, are they still available somehow to reuse? I guess within one classroom to the next, one semester to the next.
Yeah, no, you bring up some excellent points. You know, with technology, you're always careful as to, you know, how long will this technology be around for? And I don't want to spend hours on end and build so much of my content within a tool that's not going to be around. Adobe I think is one of the top on the list that will be around because obviously of the school that we are, the type of school that we are, because a lot of students are into, you know, Photoshop is a big deal for designers and marketing and everything. So I don't want to say 100%. I'll be shocked if Adobe is no longer part of. Again, you know, you never know. But yes, that's a good question, right? How long you don't want to, you know, put all your eggs in one basket, you know, so to speak.
Right.
So that's always careful. You always got to be careful. But again, with Adobe Spark, once you created these videos, you can always download the actual files, the MP4s. And I always recommend that in case, you know, you never know, like you said, something might happen and the tool's no longer available. So, but with Adobe Spark, you can download your MP4s, have them on YouTube or have them on Google Drive or wherever you want to put them. So you have a backup. And I always encourage having a backup somewhere just in case something like that does happen. And then you mentioned, I'm sorry, I'm forgetting the second part of your question. I think you said about,
You know what? Yeah, no, I think I just mentioned, well, you also mentioned the flipped classroom, but yeah, just using it as a teaching tool, and then they see it before they go and do it themselves. You know, like
yeah.
you're just going to be basically saying you've been looking at a lot of my presentations. This is where it was created, and now you can do the same.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Let me show you some examples of pages that I created with Adobe Spark that, like what you're referring to as, you know, as material that they will use and for the on your own time. Let me show you some examples that I created using Adobe Spark page. Let me go to my projects. So you see I have a lot of stuff here. Let me see if I can find one I did on Civil War. I think this, yeah, here it is, Civil War, right? So I call this one Unit 1 Civil War. And I can actually share with you material that are actually being used by FIT professors in this way. If you're interested, I can always. So this right here is a whole unit on the Civil War, right? So here is the video they're going to watch. Here is a link that goes into a web page on George Washington, right? Here's a video. Here is a gallery of images that they can watch. And I built this in less than 10 minutes. I mean, Adobe Spark, again, we go back, I keep repeating myself about the learning curve. There's nothing, you don't have to learn any HTML code. There's nothing about that. All it is you're clicking on this little plus signs and you're deciding what it is that you want to add, right? And so this is like what I call the learning unit or the learning sequence that we follow, you know, also like a lesson plan in your physical classroom, right? So today we're going to do, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go over the George Washington wiki. You know, we're going to ask students to submit to the wiki. Here now you're going to watch a video, or like a video lecture on George Washington's biography. Then we're going to go over some photos of George Washington, or we can do a discussion right here, or you can put a link to the Padlet discussion. You know, so this is all built on Adobe Spark, which, to your point, they can do this on their own time. And these pages, you can easily grab the page if you go to share, and you can embed this page into Blackboard like this, or just send it to the student via email. Whatever approach you feel better. You know, I can embed. Click embed, copy the embed, copy this embed code, and I go back into Blackboard. If I go to my sandbox, so I already have Unit 1, right? I think Martin, you've done this already in your class, so maybe you might share some ideas. Or so I do build content. I'm gonna do item, and so if I call this Unit 1 Civil War. Oh, by the way, Blackboard updated today, so you'll notice it looks a little different.
Oh yeah.
If you notice, if you notice, the HTML button is missing, right? You don't see the HTML button anymore, but they replaced it with this one. It's the two little brackets. So this is now the new HTML button, just to let you all know. So if you click on this, and if you paste the embed code in here, click Save, and now we have the Spark page. And so I click Submit. And here's one I've done already. This is the other one, the Civil War. But this is the one I just did right now. At the bottom, here it is. Because Blackboard puts everything that you just added all the way down to the bottom of your page. And so when the students see this, they click on Read More, and then all your work for that learning sequence or lesson plan, it's all in one page. Now, the other beauty of this is that if you notice a mistake, or if you're updating your content, you don't have to go through Blackboard to update the content. Just go back into your Spark page, make the necessary changes. Let's say if I want to change this to Civil War Part 2. I go now back into, and then if I publish this, you have to make sure you publish it because I just made a change. And I publish this, you see, notice that I made a change. You click Update the link, and now if I go back into Blackboard, the update's already there. So let me just refresh. And if I go back, so this is important if you're teaching the same material, multiple classes, you make the change in one place, and everywhere that this material is embedded in, the change will happen automatically. You don't have to go in Blackboard in multiple courses. Everything is centralized in Adobe Spark, so if you do make a change and you update the link, it will make those changes for you on everywhere in Blackboard. You don't have to go into multiple places to make those updates.
Yep.
Great.
Great question, Pam. Yeah, that's a great question. So and if you're interested, I can always send you some examples of Spark pages, Spark videos, and even Spark graphics. I have a lot of professors who use graphics to create flyers for the class and say, oh, today we're going to have, for the assignments, they create a graphic for every assignment. Or, before the pandemic, they were using graphics to do the museum visits. Oh, we're inviting everyone to the museum visit. It's going to be on Tuesday at 3 o'clock at the MoMA. So just to make it a little bit more fun, they had these these are all templates that are done for you. All you have to do is go in there and change, the text and the image. And so it's very easy and quick to make these. Yeah.
Jose, you showed me how to use these flyers for announcements and things like that. But you showed us really, and I thought it's very, very nice touch. It takes away from all that kind of like heavy text based sort of approach to announcements and give it a nice sort of like popular style. And I really like that too.
Yeah, like you can take this template, right, and then make it your own, and then copy it and paste it into an announcement on your Blackboard announcements. And instead of just getting text, just regular text, you get a nice flyer that your students will get excited, and kind of sparks that excitement about whatever it is that you're inviting them to do or whatever. And so and again, you can just click on any of these, and create from this template and make it your own. And it's very, very, again, learning curve, there is none, I would say. It's just very straightforward. And so you would just type in and just make it your own, and you type in whatever you want to say.
Yeah, so Jose and everyone else, I've used it a bit, the Spark, and I've used it in conjunction even with Google Form. and I find it to be very, very, very easy to use. The only problem we're having now, and you can probably help with this, I'm not sure what steps I'm missing, but in terms of attaching PDFs, that's a challenge that I've had, and I would like to do some more of that in integrating the various applications.
It's a great question. So you're saying like attaching a PDF, like linking to a PDF document from the Adobe Spark page?
Into the Google Spark, like in the page, yeah.
Yeah.
So I have PDFs and things of the sort. There's a lot of noise. Just 1 second.
Sure, sure.
Yeah, a big truck was going by, and I'm at the front. So my question was, yeah, these PDF and even like using a hypothesis, for example, where I can integrate that into Google Form, not Google Form, sorry, Spark, Adobe Spark. Yeah, so I don't know if you have the time now to just kind of, or we can do it another time, just for like.
Sure, sure. I mean, no, that's a great question. So like with Adobe Spark, it has a feature of linking out to, to documents. So for example, going back to our Civil War page, if there's a document that I want to link and I want the students to access this document, I would go into my Google Drive, for example, here my Google Drive, and if I have a PDF, I can upload the document to my Google Drive. Let me see if I have a document I can use. I think I have a PDF document. Basically, any type of document that you have in your Google Drive, you can share and grab the link for that document, and then take that link and put it in the Spark page. So for example, I'm looking for a PDF that I might have. I don't see any. Here, okay, here, this document, the digital storytelling assignment, this is one that we were using today. If I make this into a link, let's say you can make this a PDF or whatever, or a Word doc, and if you get the link, but you have to make sure, Martin, that you bring the document, the PDF, and you drop it into your Google Drive, because the document has to live somewhere, right? And so what you do is you get the link.
Yeah, that was the problem. Yeah.
Yeah, or you click share, right? Because now you have to make it available to all your students, right? So right now I have it available to everyone. So I just copy the link, and then I go back into the Spark page, and now I click on one of the little, you decide where on the page you want the link to go. Let's say I want it right after the video. So I click on the plus after the video, and then I choose button. And this might not be straightforward, because you're saying, oh, this is a button, but button really is for links. That's the way they refer to links, as buttons. So if I click button.
Actually, I should have known that, because I actually did the same thing for the Google Form. Yeah, the Google Form, this is how I integrated the Google Form in there.
Exactly, right. So this is how, but the only difference here is that you have to make sure that that document, that PDF that you're linking, it has to be hosted somewhere. And so we have Google Drive for us at FIT to host. And so that, that'll be the first step. Make sure that you bring in that document into your Google Drive, make it a shareable link that anyone can click on it or access it without your permission. That's the other thing you have to make sure, because with Google Drive, you have to make sure that anyone with the link can open it. And then you click and then copy the link. And then this is alignment. You want to be to left align or center align. I like center align. And I click save. And so now students will know that this is a document they have to read. And so you might even have something before this and say something, make sure you read the PDF document on your, you can actually, preamble, set a preamble before you can also left align this if you like to let the center align. And so now as the student is going down,
better.
Yeah, now you kind of, or you can say, make sure you read the PDF document, George Washington, below. Right, and so now as they read below, this is where the document is. So they click on it. Oh, let me preview. Preview. So now we're previewing the page, how students will see this. And so now you see, this is how they're going to see it. Again, very visual. This is like giving Blackboard a facelift. That's the way the only way I can describe it is like, because Blackboard is not visual like this, very colorful. And so here then you make sure you read the PDF document, George Washington below. Here is the button, you click on it, and it's gonna open for them like this, and this is the document, this is the PDF. It could be in Google Docs, it could be a PowerPoint, it could be any document, that you want them to access.
What about the hypothesis link, Jose?
Oh yeah, yeah, you can do a hypothesis link too. Any external links will work. That's a good one. Yeah, you can take you can create an assignment in hypothesis. Come back to Adobe Spark. Oops, I keep going the wrong place. And
just
then
use that link, right?
Yep. Click button.
Yeah.
And take the hypothesis, give it a title, and get the hypothesis link, and then that will take them directly into the hypothesis exercise. So Martin, as you were using Padlet before to create your learning sequence, now I know you're using Adobe Spark, so you're creating a learning sequence, and so you can put in all the assignments in the order that you want, right? So
Very well.
Yeah. So the hypothesis assignment could be anywhere in your page.
Thanks.
Yeah, yeah. And again, you can also invite a colleague to work on it together with you. If you're interested, you can invite me if you want me to come into your page and, hey, Jose, come take a look and help me edit something. Or if you're working with another professor at FIT or another school and you want them to invite them as a collaborator in your Spark page, you can do that right here. You can also, as Pam was saying earlier, the fear of, hey, this tool is not going to be around, you can actually download your page or your video or your graphics and send it to Google Drive as a backup, right, to archive your work. And that's not a bad idea, to archive your work. And so you can connect it to your Google Drive and constantly send new material and archive it into your Google Drive this way.
It's like safekeeping for like the next semester too, right?
Exactly. And that's the good point you make, Martin, because then you can always reuse a lot of this material, and you might change things as you get new ideas and you tinker with your class. But it's so easy to work off the Spark page because it's just very simple to edit and add new things.
Does it have an upgrade as well? It looks a little different, no? It looks like there's an upgrade.
They added a new. I know they added this. This is new. They added.
Yeah, I didn't see that before because I remember when I invited you before with the Dominican Republic
oh yes,
form, I didn't have that feature. So yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, they're also, I know because I check periodically. They're on the roadmap. They are making a lot of changes, and I'm forgetting some of them right now. They're on the roadmap, but they're adding a lot of new features coming soon. Adobe Spark seems to be a little slower in updating their features than Padlet and Screencast-O-Matic. I'm noticing a lot of new things in Padlet. They're working hard, but Adobe Spark,
yeah.
I wish they were a little quicker with their adding new features, but they might have a small team. I don't know.
I just wanted to say though that you were mentioning before in terms of the grabbing how to log into Spark and doing it the ways that we can get the greatest features. There's also a qualitative difference when you log in with the FIT, as opposed to just the your personal login. You get greater access to the photos, like the stock photos and so on.
Oh yes.
I find that to be the case because they're trying to, they not force, but they encouraging you to subscribe to, you know, buying photos and that kind of thing. Yeah.
That's a good point, Martin. Yes, if you do log into the free version, another thing that you'll notice is that they add the watermark to all your projects. But with the FIT Pro account, you're not going to get, you know, any watermarks. And you're right, you do get access to a lot of new nice features like the stock footage, the stock photos, projects. They allow you to, I mean, there's some features that you don't get with the free version, but if you do log in with the FIT account, there's some really nice features, extra features that you will get. So, hey, why not? I mean, log in with the Pro account. You know, it's free. I mean, well, it's not free. The school's paying for it, but for us, we don't have to worry about that. So why not take advantage of the extra features that are there?
The students have the same level of access as well, right? Once they.
Yes. Yes.
So it's not just faculty.
That's a great point. I forgot to mention. Yes, but I do cover it on the student video tutorial. I go through the steps of how to log in with your FIT account with students so that they also get the Pro account and they get all the features that are included with the Pro account. So I do cover that in the student video for students. And I go through it really clearly because it is there are multiple steps and it could be a little bit confusing. It's like, you know, Fort Knox, they're protecting it from, you know, non-FIT users. It is covered on that tutorial for your students. Not only is it accessible via a computer, iPad, but also on the smartphone. If you do download the Spark app onto your phone, I think the iPhone one is a little bit more advanced in the sense that it has more features than the Android, but it is available on both iOS, iPhone, and Android, and you can actually create these pages, videos, and graphics on your smartphone. So take a look at that if you're interested. Download the Adobe Spark app onto your phone, and you can actually, on your commute, you can actually create a lot of this content as you're commuting to work or going home. It might be easier for you to, you know, if you want to work on it there on your phone or whatever. All right.
I have to jump off, and I thank you very much. I just wanted to know, I was sick and I missed the appointment that we had on
no worries about that. Yeah.
And I realized that you were booked. You booked all the way through August.
Well, you know,
a session with you.
I'll reach out to you after this workshop, and if you're available, I'll check your availability. Yeah, I knew something was wrong. I was like, wait a second. You know, usually Martin, you know, we never miss our appointment.
Absolutely. I look forward to. I was looking forward to. But yeah, I was really sick, and then you know. So anyway, so we'll be in touch, and thanks again. Thanks for accommodating me.
Definitely.
I'm sorry.
And it's great to hear your voice. You know, it's good to have you. So, you know, hey, I hope everything's okay. So.
Likewise. Bye, everyone. Thanks again.
Take care, Martin.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Hi, Jose. It's Karen. How are you doing?
Good, good.
This is really exciting. I was wondering, did I hear you correctly that you said there were some updates to Screencast-O-Matic?
Oh, yes. Thank you for reminding me. Yes. So,
Could you have time to review that?
Sure. So some of the updates that are heading our way is that this is on the roadmap ahead. They're going to add interactive elements to the videos. So, for example, if you're interested in creating, again, if you are going with the flipped classroom model, or just videos in general that you're making for your students, you can go to certain points in the video, insert these interactive elements, like, for example, a multiple choice or a polling questions. Things like that will be possible in the short future with Screencast-O-Matic. That's one thing I know for sure. The other thing I was told was that also chapters. So, for example, if you're breaking up your videos into chunks, but you're doing it as one video, you can create chapters. For let's say instead of doing 5 separate short videos, if you want to do one long video with chapters, so that students can jump from chapter to chapter. That is also, I was told, on the roadmap ahead.
That's very interesting. With the chapter thing, do you think that they'll be able to, like they have to finish one chapter before going to the next one?
That's interesting, yeah. I don't know if they're going to allow rules, like, for the audience, if you require this, it require you to watch chapter 1 before moving on to chapter 2. I didn't ask that, but I'm going to write that down, and that's a great question. When I speak to them again, I'm going to make sure I ask that question.
Great, thank you.
Sure, no, thank you for that. There was another thing they told me about that was in the works. I'm jogging my memory right now. I'm trying to remember if I can. Those are the 2 main things I know they were doing. But when I remember, I will include in the email summary for today's workshop. I'm going to send. I usually send a summary. I will include that in the email. The other update that I mentioned it already on the Padlet, was the posting. Now it gives students an opportunity to actually review the material. And not only that, also, as I showed everyone, you can actually dock several posts before publishing them, allowing the student to multitask and watch what's happening in real time on the Padlet board, as well as create those posts and dock them, and then when they're ready, they can publish. I think that was really cool for them to add that, as well as the user interface. I don't know if you all seen, but Padlet has really updated the interface. They also, let me share my screen. They also added another feature. Let me just share my screen real quick so I can show you what that is. They added, let me go to my Padlet. They added, for ADA compliance, they've added these captions as you post, and you can freely go into the caption and make it your own captions. I thought that was great that they did that. They also added allowed the student to change the color of the post, which I think is very interesting pedagogically speaking, because if you have, let's say, a debate, you say, okay, all the students who are for, have a red post. All the students who are against, you can have a blue post. So I think this will allow faculty or teachers in general to think more carefully, as there's more opportunities or to design assignments based on color of the posts. So I thought this is interesting. It was there before, but now you have it here directly as you're posting it. That was interesting. This is also new, allows them to select the column. If it's a shelf template, they can decide in which column this post will belong to. So if you're scaffolding an assignment that has multiple columns, the students can select the column where their post will go in, and then they can dock it, and then when they're ready, they can publish it. The other new thing with Padlet is if you go and click on the plus, notice the interface is completely different. But also, if you go and click on the three dots, you'll notice, this is pretty cool, they added Spotify. So this is actually makes it more fun because let's say you're teaching a language course or history course, and you're studying about a certain country, and you're saying, well, you know, tell me about the country, tell me about the language, tell me about the food, tell me about the music. And if you can have all these scaffolded into columns or shelf templates, you know, like a column here. Here's a column for the music. Here's a column for the food of this country, the costumes that they wear, traditional costumes. And so if you do a music column, they can go into Spotify and search for music about this country. So I think that's pretty cool. Basically, the interface has definitely changed. They put these nice little, you know, icons. Oh, one thing they did was they removed a template that was not being used. They thought was not very useful. They removed this one. Let me go back out. So if you click Make a Padlet, notice no longer that we don't have 8 anymore. They removed the stream one, which was more like a Twitter feed, where students would have similar to like a Twitter feed. They took that one away because they felt like it wasn't being used. If you're interested on following up a lot of the updates with Padlet, I subscribe to their it's called Padlet Gazette. It's a blog that they have, and they're very good at updating the. Here is the one I was talking about. The docking your posts are all here, and they have a little video explaining how it works. And here is how it's being docked, and all that cool stuff. And so yeah, feel free to subscribe to their Padlet Gazette because they post all their updates here. And then the other update was on Blackboard, which I think I covered. With Blackboard was you'll see that they changed. If you build an item, you notice it looks a little different. If I click item or any of these, if you go in there, the interface looks different, right? And so this looks pretty much the same, but the editor, the HTML editor, looks completely different. I don't know what else has changed, but this is definitely noticeable right away. And not having the HTML button now replaced by these two little brackets. So those were kind of my updates that I wanted to share with you all. And thank you for reminding me. I almost forgot about that.
Thank you, Jose. This is really great.
Thank you, Karen. Yeah.
Jose, thanks for taking the time.
Sure. Yeah. Definitely.
It. It almost does it in time, which is great.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, and thank you all for taking the time to come by and hang out with me. I mean, I can't have a workshop without you guys and having you insight and all the ideas and questions. So thank you.
Well, I have just one more quick question because I think Martin mentioned hypothesis, and I thought I try and attend most of the learning sessions, but is that something that's offered within Blackboard hypothesis? Because I went to the website and I see you can do your own account, but is that built into Blackboard or no?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, definitely. Look, let me show you. So if I go back to my Blackboard shell, and if I go to build content, and it's taking a little. Here we go. Right now, I have it integrated in Blackboard. They gave us a trial, so I don't know how long the trial is for. Hypothesis in general is free, so The only thing is that the integration, like having it integrated within our Blackboard system, is what they charge for. So I'm still talking to them.
Okay.
Uh,
Gotcha.
and also the integration allows for the grades to pass to your gradebook, right? So if you give a student a grade in hypothesis, the grade gets passed through into the Blackboard gradebook.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. It's a great tool. It's actually one of my favorite tools that's out there. I highly recommend using it if you are the type of professor that assigns a lot of readings to your students. And what it does, and the magic behind hypothesis, is that it combines the reading and the discussions all to one assignment. And the third thing that it does is it creates a social environment that, as a student, I remember when I would go, when I was a student, I would remember that, okay, the professor assigns a reading, and like, I'm the only, I feel alone reading this paper or this book, whatever I'm reading. With a hypothesis, it becomes a group activity, because as you're reading the material, you see other students in there reading as well, and you see their annotations. And that's the beauty of hypothesis. It takes something like reading here's an example. Here's a reading assignment unit, and this is hypothesis. This is how it looks like. And so if you click on it, it's probably easier for me to show you than tell you, because so this is what hypothesis looks like, right? And so this is a document. This is an article that students are supposed to read, and I pulled this from the New York Times. And so the students have to read this, they have to read this document, and then they annotate. And so it becomes an interactive experience that otherwise would be just, me, myself reading this, and just, it's not as fun as, oh, look, oh, Rebecca read this part of the page and she left a comment. Let me go check out what Rebecca has to say about this part of the paper.
Right. Yeah, it almost reminds me. There was some built-in, and I forget the platform name. It was within the Canvas LMS, but I felt as if it were one more place for students to ask questions that I may not get to because my mind isn't to the reading because I've already read it. You know what I mean? So. Yeah, but I could see, turning readings into an interactive activity there. So, I'll explore it further. And maybe if I have any questions, I'll come back to you. But
yeah, definitely.
Okay, but was there a workshop on it? I thought but I'm looking through my notebook and I don't see it.
I can send it to you. I did record it. Yes, there is one on hypothesis, and I can go back and look for it, and I'll send it to you if I find it.
I'll shoot you an email for that link. Excellent.
Yeah. Oh, another interesting thing, just popped in my head as you were saying that you have, you as a teacher, usually you don't have much to say because you already read it. But what you can do as a teacher with hypothesis is before you assign the paper, you can leave little nuggets, right? You can leave little annotations within the document, just to make it more fun, almost like a treasure hunt, like where you might leave little nuggets, right? Let's say here about, let me see, something interesting like let's say this person, Mr. Eno, said blah blah blah, right? So you can do this. You can annotate this part and go to YouTube and put the actual video that's connected. So you add another layer of interaction, especially on important takeaways of learning that are part of the learning objectives. So something like this, you might, before the students jump in on the assignment, you might have, extra layers of multimedia, video, audio, or just little notes that you leave there for them, or even prompt discussion. You can even prompt a discussion right here and say, what do you think about, that could be, and so now what you're doing is you're merging the reading, you're merging the discussions, and then you can group those together as a gradable assignment, and then you go here and then you drop the grade you'll drop a grade, click submit, and then it goes directly into Blackboard.
And you can't upload an ebook into that, right? Because that's what they buy individually, the students.
You could take the ebook, convert it to a PDF, and then take that PDF, drop it into your Google Drive, get the link, make it shareable that anyone with the link can view it, copy the link, and then drop it into the hypothesis, and then it will look like this. Like you'll scroll through the pages of the ebook.
Right. And is there copyright? Could I be called on copyright?
Well, I like where you're going. I know where you're going. I love the idea because now you're creating like an interactive book, where everything is in one place. That book can have all the material, can have the video, can have the discussions all in one place. But then copyright is something that, yes, you're going to have to think about.
Okay.
And then, I mean, you can always talk to.
They don't read the book anyway, so I don't know why I'm even going. No, I'm joking. I don't even know I'm worried about it. But yeah, okay, so stuff to consider. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. I had that idea that you're talking about of creating a one book where everything is in the book, like all the discussion, the assignments. Because any links, I can make a link to anything here. I can make a link to a video, so there goes my video lectures, right? I can make a link to, the discussion will happen right here. The students will read the assignment here, or the paper will be read here. I can also create a link to a Dropbox in my Blackboard, so they can click on the link. It'll take them to the Dropbox, submit the work that way. I mean, it could be a one-stop shop where everything is in one place.
Yeah. Okay.
Many
Sounds
ways.
good. Or you could do it on Adobe Spark page. So.
There you go. And then you can do the same with Adobe Spark page. So I'm giving you a lot of options. The same can be done in Adobe Spark, correct?
Right. Yeah, I'm just glad it's all containable in Blackboard. So at least if all else fails, the student goes to Blackboard and there's everything. So.
Oh yeah, Blackboard will be the portal, right? The portal that will authenticate that these are actual students that have paid to take your class, and then once they go into the portal, in this case Blackboard, then you can then start putting this layer with these technologies like Padlet, Spark, hypothesis, and other things that you want to add, to just Blackboard would be the portal into your classroom to authenticate those students.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. So there's a lot of I also have what's called the Epic Toolkit for teachers, so that these are all tools that you can use and use them in whatever way you as a teacher feel is right for your teaching style, for your material, and just basically to make your life easier.
Right, and that's on the homepage of the FIT. Is it the distance learning page? It's wherever you're found with Jeffrey and the CC.
Oh yeah, you're talking about this. Right. You're talking about the. I have the link right here. Let me see.
Sorry, I just missed out.
Teaching remote website.
Yes. Okay. Yeah,
this
teaching
one,
remotely, not continuing. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Great.
Yeah. These are all like recordings of previous workshops. Also, if you don't see a recording or a video that you're looking for, you can also go into our YouTube channel over here. Actually, it's over here. This is our YouTube channel. It's FIT Office of Online Learning, and I try to post everything, all our videos here. So you can just subscribe, and you'll get you see all the videos that we have here, of workshops, and Jeffrey and I, and there's a lot of videos. I'm gonna be working on that, adding all the videos that were done. Here's the Video Maker series. All of them are in here.
Right.
All the flipped classroom videos are here. Yeah, I mean, here's the Adobe Spark presentations.
Okay, great. I'll go there. Yeah.
And here's Martin. Actually, here's Martin's video on how he did his course using a Spark page. So you also find course tours. I'm calling them course tours of professors sharing their course with the community.
Great. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you for coming by, and I'll stop here, I guess. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me, and I'll be happy to help in any way I can. Or if you want to do a one-on-one session, or if you don't see an open slot, just reach out to me, because I have emergency slots that I do keep us, I keep them for emergencies. So if you need to meet with me one-on-one, I'll be happy to meet with you. All right.
Excellent. Yeah, thank